So in today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys my Katrina replica, and before we get any further into it, I would like to ask for you to subscribe, like, and share this content if you want to see more like it. It really helps out my channel and helps get like-minded viewers to be able to view this content. So without further ado, let's jump into this video and how I made this dress. Hey dears, so in this video, I'm going to be talking to you guys about the Katrina replica that I have made and just basically held on to and was hush-hush about for like the last 4 years, for almost 5 years. So yeah, a few years ago, I think it was 2016, 2017, close to that time, I think it probably was 2016, I had seen Katrina, I'd seen the craze around it, and I had run across nearly identical fabric on Etsy of all places, and I just couldn't help myself. I had dabbled in playing around with making some replicas previously. I know that for a while I was a indie Lolita brand, like Western brand owner, and I did have some really tight rules and values around making sure that I never sold replicas on like Truly Darling, but that didn't stop me from wanting to make some for my personal collection, and so I did. So I come from a cosplay background, and when I say that, I mean like from 13 to about 20, 22 or so, I had done cosplay every year, and I was pretty good at sewing. So when I got into Lolita, it wasn't that hard to be able to transition into not only being able to sew Lolita clothing, but to be able to perfectly replicate anything that I saw, because my cosplay skills had given me that ability. I know that in the Lolita community there is sort of a lot of backlash, or there's a lot of hate thrown towards people or companies that would make replicas. And I personally, yeah, was not an advocator of being someone who would support something that was outrightly replicating, and I wasn't really someone who wanted to be selling replicas. But if I wanted something for my personal collection and I couldn't afford it because it either wasn't for sale anywhere or was over $400, can you fault me for making it for like less than $200? So the materials cost to make this Katrina replica in ivory was about $165 in total. The dress at the time was going for about $400 everywhere, and that wasn't just people spiking it up, reselling it. I do believe that even when Angelic was doing the make to order, it was close to like, it was up there. I believe it was, I mean, typically their OPs start at $275 just to begin, and then they can range all the way up to like $300 or $400. So yeah, so when I could see that I could get all the materials for about $165, I just had to challenge myself to make it, and to me it was a worthwhile challenge. This was probably one of the most complicated dresses I have ever made. I had not ever done a style like this before. I've never done this kind of collar before, so I actually had to draft all of the pattern pieces for this dress myself from scratch, basically using the mannequin that I have, and just like, I was like eyeballing it for the most part. So the dress consists of at least 6 different types of laces, and when I originally had replicated the dress, I actually had looked at the original one very, very closely to try to make sure that all the laces I got were as close to the original ones as possible. The ones on the sleeve, I know that I remember. I had some trouble finding one that was exact, but it was pretty darn close. The chiffon that I ended up using for the sleeves is this really delicate, soft, ivory colored chiffon, and I actually have lined the bodice with it as well. So the bodice is white, but it has a layer of the same exact ivory chiffon on it. I'm going to include some better pictures I have taken of the dress. I did make this front bow here, this gold front bow detachable. because I do believe the original was like that as well. I don't know if the neck collar one was, but I made this one not detachable. The other thing that I opted against doing, because it just didn't really work for the dress, was I could not find the cross that goes right here. I couldn't find an applique cross that looks like the original one. It ain't there. And I didn't mind that. I didn't mind if anyone had asked and then, you know, telling them that I made it. It wasn't like a point of concern for me. The only reason why I hadn't really gotten around to even wearing it was because I owned 70 other Lolita dresses, because as a Lolita designer, I was making a lot of samples all the time. I think each new print run I did for Truly Darling had at least 2 or 3 samples or cuts. So I was like kind of swimming in dresses all the time. And this one just ended up getting like lost in the back of my wardrobe. And so, I mean, it is gorgeous and I would love to wear it. I probably will be wearing it sooner rather than later, considering that I've owned it for as long as I have and I haven't worn it yet. I've got a few other ones in my wardrobe too I've not yet to wear, but I just own. So my goal is sort of been that I've been downsizing my wardrobe a lot, so I can actually wear all of my Lolita and I don't have this problem of owning stuff that I'm not wearing. Now, I would be dishonest if I didn't say that a few years ago, especially while I still had the Truly Darling business, I did care a little bit too much about my reputation or my image as someone who owns a Lolita brand, walking around a convention or a fashion show wearing this. That was the other thing too. At the time, a lot of the things I would go to, like conventions, I was going to them to either be selling, so I was running a booth, or I was going there to model, so I was there to be on the stage. And those two areas were not areas in which I felt comfortable wearing my replica. I think that it had even been said to me before, like with the runway shows, that it was totally cool if I wanted to wear it, because I did make it, and so girls were kind of like, you know, if you want to, you want to. I mean, my local community is really sweet like that. I really appreciated them for having that open mindset about it, but I just still had some personal reservations. Like for me personally, this dress is something more like, because it is for my personal wardrobe, I would want to wear it while I'm out doing something more personal, like I'm going to tea with friends, or I'm going to a convention for my own personal pleasure, not because I am working it. So, because at that point I was there sort of representing something. I was representing something bigger than me. It was my business. So, yeah, not owning Truly Darling and doing that anymore has freed me up, especially mentally, to not be so afraid to talk about these things or show them or to wear them. So, yeah, so I thought that I would go ahead and start on the series of showing you guys some of the crazy sewing expeditions I went on and things I had made, because a lot of it was because I'm poor. I mean, to be honest, I'm poor, can't afford, every time I see a dream dress of mine, I can't afford to drop $400 on it. So if it was over my budget of what I could afford with Lolita, I would just make it. So yeah, so there's a few other ones that are going to be in this series that I'll be able to show you guys. And I'm actually I'll put on this dress here at the end of the video so you can see what it actually looks like on. I know I did some close-up shots of it on the mannequin earlier, but yeah, so you can actually see what it looks like, how it drapes and all that. I'll go ahead and I'll put that on. Thank you again, everybody, for checking out this video, and I will see you guys in the next one.